Kang to be such a problem.
Hey, I got a question. Do you think you're ever going to say Kang's name right?
Kang? No, I don't think so.
All
Kong?
right.
Kang? Kang?
Khan,
King
Kang,
Kong? I'm just
King
gonna
Kong.
call him
King
King
Kong. Yeah,
Kong.
go with King Kong. I
I'm gonna
like it.
call him King Kong.
Hello and welcome to May the Review Be With You with Nick and Joe. I'm Joe.
I'm Nick.
And today we're talking about some really exciting stuff that's just buzzing around all over the internet, coming out of Hall H from Comic-Con. We're talking about the Marvel announcements of Phase 5 and Phase 6. So many new properties, or not new properties, but new movies, new TV shows coming out. So cool. A couple new properties in there. But I don't even know exactly where to begin of like what I'm most excited about. Nick, of everything that was announced last month, what is still ringing to you right now?
Like a all access movie pass because my goodness.
I'm actually considering doing that, the
Like,
the Regal one. Like in
uh,
October, that seems like a good time to do it.
I went to so many movies in the last like 2.5 months. Like I'm like also starting to consider like an A because I have an AMC close to me. So I'm like considering like this might actually be worth it, especially with all these announcements coming up. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
We're not plugged to say that, but if you guys want to plug us, hey, AMC, really great theater.
Yeah, I'm just like, what the heck, man? This is like, you know. Um, but we're also getting close to the fact that like one day, like hopefully soon, we don't have to go to the movie theater. Like I'd prefer to just like if you have a decent sound
Oh,
system at home,
oh, sacrilegious.
just
Get
put it on
out
the
of
screen at
here.
home, man. I hate going. I don't
No.
want to deal with people. Okay,
Oh, all right.
like
Well, that I don't blame you, but I mean, like, there's just nothing better than being like in a big, open, empty movie
you know
theater
what?
and just
You're
watching it
right.
all by yourself.
Like spending. If you go to the matinee showing in the middle of the afternoon on a Tuesday, it's pretty great. But you're still going to spend $30 on, a small drink and popcorn. So what the hell?
Nick, everyone just cheats that. Everyone just brings in their own stuff.
Yeah, but it's not as fun.
You still haven't answered the question. Which one are you most excited about?
Sorry, I went on a rant there. Honestly, the two things that pop into my head are Loki season 2
Mm.
and the Kong Dynasty. Because
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
that was such a big important thing at the end of season 2, meeting him and then getting this like broad picture of like, okay, this is clearly the multiverse saga that we're about to deal with, which obviously is another movie title that we got. Um, and I'm just like very excited because I feel like he's like the big bad guy of the next phase, or maybe even 2 phases. So I'm like super excited about that. And the actor just did such a fantastic job that I really like looking forward to like not just meeting him again, like that particular Kong, but like the multiversal ones of him too, like that are just it's just gonna be really fun. So I'm like super stoked about those two things the most, I think.
Mm.
Um, but there's so much. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And just on what you said about Jonathan Majors playing Kang. Yeah, you're right. I am very excited to see the many portrayals that he'll be having as like all of Kang's different personas. And Kevin Feige hinted as much that he has seen the different parts that Jonathan Majors will be playing, and like he's been saying, he's like, there's literally no other actor we could have gotten to do this
Yeah.
better than Jonathan Majors. Um, and yeah, that first performance as He Who Remains at the end
Yeah.
of Loki, man, I'll tell you, like I remember the rumors going around that Kang was going to be like the next big baddie, and I've never been that big of a Kang fan, but after watching him in Loki, I was hyped.
Yeah.
That was creepy but fun,
Yeah.
fun creepy.
And then we're getting another Loki season, which we all kind of expected, obviously, after the ending there. But like Hiddleston's just so great, and the character is so awesome, and they found a way to keep him going, and it'll be interesting to see if that Loki breaks out of the little area, like the little time traveling world he's in, and I'm assuming we get a Thor Loki reunion at some point. in the next phase. So.
I think that's probably accurate because like I'm wondering if because at the end of season one Loki, he's he's not in the same world that he started in, right? Because like we know that the Mobius that he comes to meet is not the one that he started with. So like I'm wondering if he's already actually just back in like the 616 universe. And this is going to be like eventually, like you said, like a transition back to like our Thor, which would be interesting because this technically isn't his Loki. Um, lots of that going around actually with, not Star-Lord's Gamora running around as well.
Yeah.
It's already madness. It's already getting crazy.
Yeah, it's already the timelines have already shattered. Like, it's insane, like
yeah. You mentioned how Kang, one of the reasons why you're excited is because Kang appears to be the big baddie of the phases coming up. But like I think if I were to like redefine that a little bit, if you'll let me, you gonna let me?
Of course.
All right. If you recall, even though we don't see Thanos until the end of phase one, we come to realize like retroactively that he's really been the one pulling the strings like all along, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can kind of say the same thing about Kang at this point. Like it's probably likely that we will have only seen Kang at the end of Loki season 1 in phase 4. But by the time phase 5 starts, perhaps with Quantumania, perhaps it'll become a little bit more obvious that yes indeed this is the big bad. We have confirmation on this,
right?
So if I were to like redefine it, I would say like Thanos was the big bad of like phases 1, 2, and 3. He was like the big bad of the Infinity Saga, right? I would say Kang is probably going to end up being the big bad of, I guess, whatever this saga ends up being, the multiverse saga. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's the funny part, right? Because those are two separate movie titles.
Yeah, that's true.
But like the Kang one is Kang Dynasty, right? I think is what it's called.
Yeah, the Kang Dynasty.
And then, but that comes out before Multiverse Saga.
Secret Wars.
That comes out before Secret Wars, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be great too. I mean, I know that that might be one of the ones you're the most stoked about. Obviously, you haven't answered this question yet, but like the timeline on that is just so like the Kang Dynasty is one of the last ones I think that's coming out, right?
So yeah, it's of the films that we know of. Yeah, it's the second to last.
Second to last, and the last one's Secret Wars. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Right. So I mean, just from the timeline there, it implies that like he probably is the big bad, but then something obviously is going to go down, and then we're going to get Secret Wars, which like you're going to have like so much information on this. So we're going to let you talk now.
So like I knew you were gonna throw that at me because like when we first talked about it, right? Like I was like, they actually said Secret Wars, like holy crap.
Yeah.
But if I'm being honest, it's at this current moment in time, it's not the film I'm most excited for, and I'll explain why. Even though like I love both stories in the comics, I love one a little bit more than the other. The most recent one I love because it was really well written. The first one, I think it's debatable on whether or not it's well written. But it's basically a kid playing with toys in a toy box, and everyone wants to see sweet matchups. So like, yeah, the first Secret Wars is fun for that. But I guess as far as the film goes, Nick, I'm more curious about that film than anything because I know whatever that movie is going to be, it's not going to be either of the two Secret Wars from the comics in the past. And like, just to like clarify that, Civil War, I think is a really good example, right? Civil War, Captain America Civil War is, when it comes down to it, it's really a war between Tony and Steve, which like, you can say that's true in the comic too. But it's a lot more personal.
Mm-hmm.
And Bucky's a huge part of this story, whereas like the comic book story is like so different. It's like it's not even close.
Right.
So I don't know. I think it's
and they're really good at that, right? Like
they are.
Feige and everyone, they're really good at taking little pieces and then making it this like big cinematic storyline that like kind of is their own in a way, right? Which is really great. But then I guess it leaves that's where your more curiosity comes from rather than excitement or even disappointment, right? It's more like
Oh yeah,
what are
I'm not.
they gonna
Yeah,
what are
I'm
they
not
gonna make it?
disappointed at all. It's
Yeah, no, of course. But I was just saying, like, there's like three different ways to think about it, right? And
for
just
sure
curiosity is the better, especially because it's the last movie that they've announced for Phase Five, right?
the end of Phase 6.
And Phase Six, excuse me. So, like, from all evidence, if it is truly the last one, then it's like probably the one with the most like of a cliffhanger for like what happens next. And I mean, there's so much stuff that's gonna happen between TV and like movies that like, I mean, like we might have a whole separate slew of superheroes for Phase Seven by the time this is all done, right? Like, I read an article last night that originally, um, that the Russo brothers were interviewed and they were talking about the movie Endgame and how Feige originally had all of the OG Avengers dying in that movie.
Oh my god.
Endgame originally and Endgame apparently, from the article I read last night, if it's true, Feige wanted to like kill off all the OGs in Endgame, and the Russo
Huh.
brothers like kind of talked him back off of that. And we're like, well, we think like it's like too extreme. It was like this is way too extreme. Like we think it'd be better to have a couple die throughout the film to kind of have those different pauses. And of course, we ended up getting Black Widow dying, and then we got obviously Tony Stark dies, and then Captain America doesn't die, but he has an exit.
Yeah.
And so like you get three different kind of like breaks in the film and like these different things. And so obviously that worked out. And then character arcs have already started for the ones that didn't die. But I was just like, I read that and I was like, man, like if that's what they were thinking in Endgame, like, and then you get stuff like Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty and all these other things happening. And you're getting all these new characters that we've talked about on the show previously that are being introduced because you have to progress the storyline. Wouldn't surprise me if like, we get to the end of Phase Six and like the Avengers look extremely different than they
Oh
do
yeah.
now, right? I mean, we're gonna get two Avengers movies, but like I wouldn't be surprised if the only person left is Spider-Man, like from the first couple phases of Marvel. So this is gonna be interesting, man.
It's gonna be interesting. So Nick, we're both clearly excited. I want to go through each film now. I'm gonna pull up the timeline so both of us can see it. But I want to go through each one and just like make a couple notes on each. But I also want to like give like maybe like a numeric rating about like your interest and or excited level on the film or TV show.
Love that.
All right, so we got Phase 5. We got the map of it out in front of us. And the first one, kicking off Phase 5, February 17th, 2023, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania. Yo, how you feeling about this one?
Um, I love that this is like the one that's going to be like, okay, let's party. Like this is going to obviously give us so much information, and that's great. But and this, this about me, like there is something about Ant-Man and the Wasp that I just don't get excited about. Like I'm going to go see this movie and it's going to be great and I'm going to love every second of it, but I'm going to be like not happy every second of the way until I'm sitting in that theater because it's Ant-Man. It just sounds like a sad superhero. And I've just never been excited about the Ant-Man stuff. And I remember even like the very first Ant-Man, like I didn't even see it in theater. I waited until it was out and I could just rent it for $3 on like back in the day it was like video on demand on Comcast or some stupid thing. And I remember after watching, I was like, Joe, oh my gosh, I was so wrong. It was incredible. Like Paul Rudd does such a good job. However, it's still called Ant-Man. Like, it's not exciting, but I know it's going to be great. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm rating it out of like 5. I'll give it a 3.5.
Three and a half?
Whatever.
Hell yeah. All right. All right. You still got some wounds from the past that you're licking. But you're welcoming it with some open arms. I appreciate that. I'm a little higher for this one. So I'm going 4.5 for this one. I'm pretty excited. Of everything that's coming out, this actually might be the thing I'm most excited for. Yeah, mostly because like you said, like, the let's party line, like that to me, like this film is where like I think a lot of people have been a little unhappy with Phase 4 because the thing I keep hearing is they think that it's directionless. They don't really get
Right.
where we're going. And I don't think those people really remember Phase 1 very
Right,
well.
dude. That's a beautiful point. Like phase one was just all character building separately.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they have to do the same thing. There's too many characters that they need to reintroduce. Like there's not going to be a direction. This is the direction comes in phase five. Like you're completely right. That's a great point.
Yeah, that's why I'm excited about this film. Like this is where we're getting our big bad. We get to see Jonathan Majors again. And I just enjoy Paul Rudd in this role. But it's
Yeah, he's
I
great.
he's great. I will say like it's a little weird that if you don't count Loki, the first person in the MCU like movie sagas, right, or movie phases, right,
Right.
the first person to face off with Kang is Ant-Man. This
Yeah.
feels like a wildly mismatched fight as someone who has like mastery over time versus someone who can, you know, pull off a time
Well,
heist and get real
well,
small.
that's what's so exciting about it, right? Like
The
Ant
David and
Man's the one with
Goliath.
yeah, Ant Man's the one with the most like experience, right? With like time lines and stuff.
Weirdly, yes. Yeah.
But he is severely outmatched against Kang. So like Kang, I don't know the hell. I don't know. Whatever. You know what I'm saying. And I just feel like Quantumania is just gonna be more like Ant Man gets squashed for 3.5 hours, like because like obviously like if we're being like if you're really thinking about it, like the movie's not gonna end with them on top. Like there's a reason there's a whole phase. Like something's gonna go wrong, and it's gonna get worse probably, and like and it's just gonna lead to all the other things that we get to watch and discover. So
Mm.
it should be great.
I
Um,
I've heard a couple of people say that as well, that this will be like the Empire Strikes Back of like, I guess like the Ant-Man series. I personally don't think that will be the case. I could be entirely wrong about that, but like just the fact that it's the third Ant-Man movie, I think that this will more likely be like he defeats Kang in whatever it is that's going on in this film, but like that end credit scene will reveal like another Kang or like something much more sinister involving like what
right,
Kang's actual intentions were. Um,
right. Well, the only reason I hope something like that doesn't happen because like sometimes like those kind of things can make the whole movie seem pointless,
that's true. Well, like
right?
that's the problem with Ant-Man and the Wasp, right? The first the second movie.
Yeah,
Like I feel like most people would agree you don't really need to watch that movie except for like the last like 40 seconds of the what is it, the post credit scene.
yeah, yeah. No, exactly. So that's the only thing I worry about. But you make a good point about maybe it's a different Kang. So in that case, like Kangs can talk and learn from each other across time. Anyway, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. I saw,
I'll
yeah.
collapse.
4.5 for me on that one.
Yeah.
Very excited. So following up for that in spring of 2023, no specific date on this one. Disney Plus show, Secret Invasion.
Give me a background on what this one's about.
So yeah, as far as
Do we
the
know anything?
show, I know the original story. And I suspect I know what's going to happen with the show. But the original story is the Skrulls have secretly
Oh,
been replacing people on Earth.
yeah.
And eventually it is revealed that like certain like world leaders, certain Avengers are not who they say they are. And it is a really fun story. It's super creepy. Um, but as far as this particular show goes, I believe Nick Fury is the star of it.
Ah,
And it's supposed to be like a spy thriller. Um, I don't know. I assume Talos is in this show. I don't know where this is going because like the Skrulls are so different.
yeah.
If you remember and when Captain Marvel came out, we were talking about people were angry that the Skrulls weren't bad guys. They're like, me, the Skrulls aren't bad.
Right.
And we're like, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
if it was a good story, it's a good story.
In that case, maybe like a 3 out of 5.
I think that's where I'm at too.
Like I'm excited for it for sure, especially with Nick Fury, and I hope Talos is back because I love that character.
Mm.
So yeah, I'd say three out of five.
You know who we also might get in this show? I would
Oh,
assume.
Kobe,
Say it again.
Kobe Smulders.
Oh, I didn't even think about Maria. Yeah, you're right. Maria would
Mm.
probably be in this show. But no, I was actually going to say, oh, I always get them mixed up. I think it is Monica, right? Monica Rambeau.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah. Oh, that would be interesting after the whole WandaVision debacle.
right, right. I'm assuming that
God,
that's what.
I already forgot about her.
Right. There's so many people who got introduced in Phase Four.
There's so many people.
Oh my god.
I'm assuming that she's going to be in the Marvels,
Yeah, I want to say that's been confirmed. I'm not
right?
entirely positive.
We'll,
Maybe that's just a
we'll,
rumor.
we'll get to that in a second, but let's
We
go to
will get
the
to that. Okay, so we're both on a 3 for Secret Invasion just because like there's not a lot of information on it just
right.
yet. Uh, May 5th, in a
Yeah,
galaxy not super far away, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
four out of five,
Four.
easy. Maybe higher. Like this is probably my most excited thing I'm most excited about this probably next to Loki that's currently showing on the screen, which is the phase 5 stuff. Especially because like we're getting a holiday special in December
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
about the Guardians, and I read that it takes place between Thor Love and Thunder and this Guardians movie. So we're gonna probably know what this Guardians movie is fully about based on the holiday special. I would imagine we get some kind of inclination.
Mm.
So I'm very excited. I love the Guardians. I'm like, and I was disappointed in their like small role in Love and Thunder. So I'm just excited to like dive into what's going to happen next. Maybe the ideal scenario is they find Gamora in the holiday special and she joins the team again, and then we can kick off the Guardians movie in May 2023 with like a full Guardians team without having to worry
Oh,
about that as the backstory.
interesting. Yeah, I
That would
didn't
be
even
cool.
consider that.
That would make sense for like what's the holiday special for? It's like they find Gamora and there's a whole little thing. That would make I think feel like that kind of makes sense for like a holiday story. It's like a nice like oh he finds her again and they like work it out blah blah blah. It's like nice and sweet but still funny and Guardians like, and then we get some kind of like 10-minute thing at the end of like holy crap this is what we're going to be dealing with.
You know what? I bet you're right. Because the reason why I say that is I thought it was such a weird decision to kill off Gamora. Not because it didn't work in Infinity War. It absolutely did.
Right.
But in terms of where the Guardians franchise story was, because it had just ended with the Guardians really coming together as a family, right?
Right.
And the big baddie of what was teased for the next film was Adam Warlock. I can't remember the name of that race, that golden people race.
Yeah.
But
Um,
like, she makes her like, her Adam is what she says, right?
right.
And this is like a beloved character who is a beloved Guardians member in the comics, who is, teased to like be their villain. So it seemed like, okay, so we're gonna get Gamora back and Adam's gonna be like fighting them. Like that feels like that's gonna be a lot to juggle. I wonder if you're right. Like they're just gonna it's almost gonna be like a segue to return to like a status quo so we can just move on with the plot.
Right. That
That's
would
a
make sense.
that's solid. That's a solid theory.
And it's like it's a holiday special, so it's supposed to be a little bit more like happy and like whatever Christmassy, if you
Right,
will.
right. Like
So,
how Hawkeye was very Die Hard, the best Christmas movie.
right. Right. For
I
the
don't
record,
even
Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. Full stop. We can move on now.
I don't even agree with that argument, the argument that it's a Christmas movie. I just love when people bring it up because I just think it's so freaking funny.
When people say that and they're serious, I delete them from my life. Nobody
Well,
I
I'm
nobody I
glad I
know
was serious.
nobody I know and talk to thinks that movie is a Christmas movie.
Oh, you need to talk to Mikey about that.
Well, I don't know who that is.
Wow, that operating system moves fast. Shoot.
All right, let's go to Echo.
Echo. Okay. Echo. Summer 2023
Yes.
Disney Plus show. We have Echo. And for anyone who doesn't remember who Echo is, yes, this is a character we have met before. We just brought up Hawkeye. That is where we met Echo.
But don't you think we'll have young Hawkeye in this as well? Or you think it's
Oh,
just
is this a prequel series?
no? I meant Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah. Sorry, I should have guessed what you meant there. Yeah, Kate Bishop. Um,
Kate Bishop. Sorry, yeah, because
yeah,
her name's also Hawkeye, isn't it?
that is correct. Yeah, that
Yeah.
that that
So
definitely won't get confusing in the future.
right. So we're gonna have to refer to her as Kate Bishop. You're absolutely
Yeah.
correct.
That's a great point, Nick. She probably will be, even though I don't know anything about this character in the comics. I really don't. I like the idea of her a lot, but I don't know. I just didn't really get attached to her very much in Hawkeye.
Yeah. I I really like the character. The actress, I think, did a great job. And if
Yes.
I'm not mistaken, it was like her first role, but she's actually like a deaf person in real life.
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
And
She
so,
is a deaf actress.
yeah, I think this was her first role too, which was like it was super impressive because she seemed like she did a really good job. But as far as like the character goes, I was much more focused on Kate Bishop and Hawkeye and excited about those two characters. And
Mm,
then obviously getting the Kingpin at the end was really
that
cool.
was cool. That was fun.
And so, like, from that perspective, I'm really more interested on where this show's going to be about and where it's going to go. And with limited information, it's probably the lowest on my list
Yeah, same.
of all of this. So, like, I guess 2.5,
You are generous. I'm giving this a one.
maybe a two. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
I
one.
a one
Joe
that I
is
would love to be wrong about.
Joe is like, this is the one you're going to like the most because your expectations are so low.
I hope you're right. Yeah, actually, for all I know, like that because we have a deaf character, for all I know, that actually might offer the show the most artistic license, to really
Yeah,
really
yeah,
get creative with how to
actually
tell a
cool.
story. So like if that is indeed the case, then you're right. This does actually have the potential to be my favorite property of Phase 5.
Yeah.
But as of right now, as I don't know a lot about the character and I didn't really bond with her during Hawkeye, yeah, I'm at about a one, but I would love to be wrong about it.
Yeah, for sure. All
Mm.
right, let's go. Let's go.
All right, so let's go ahead and skip Loki. And no, I'm just kidding, man. I know you're excited. Loki
Well,
season.
actually, I think based on the
Oh wait, let's see, summer 2023.
or
Oh, that's
July
interesting. Yeah. So based
29th.
on based on these three properties, right? Wow, these films are really close together.
Yeah,
So
it looks like they're all probably around the same time then. So I'm guessing summer is before July 29th based on this chart.
so
But
for the record, what Nick is looking at here is Guardians is listed as May 5th, 2023. Echo is listed summer 2023. Loki season 2 is listed summer 2023. And then The Marvels is listed July 29th, 2023. These are all on top of each other.
yeah,
Wow, that is a lot of Marvel in a
yeah,
very short time period.
yeah. Well, but they are all TV shows, so it makes a little bit more
Not
sense.
not all of them. Two of them are, but two of them aren't.
Oh, sorry. You talking about Guardians. What's is the Marvels a movie?
Yeah, take a look. So every Disney Plus show has Disney Plus written under it.
Ah, you're right. Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, The Marvels
Wow.
is a
Oh, I
movie.
love that it's a movie.
Yeah, I do too.
That's awesome. Oh, thank God. I'm so happy it's a movie.
Yeah, Brie Larson needs some more
Brie
love on the
Larson is
silver screen.
Brie Larson is a freaking champion. I can't wait. I really hope she has a bigger role in these next two phases because she's
Same.
awesome and she's
She's
crushed
been
it so
so
far.
sidelined.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
and I imagine she's been sidelined because like she's so powerful that like the phase, Thanos was obviously like a monster, but even Thor with the proper axe was
could take
like
care of him. Yeah,
could take care of him. And so like you had to kind of give Captain Marvel a reason to not be around the whole time.
it's true.
And I think they're setting up Kang to be such a problem that hopefully Captain Marvel is way more involved.
Hey, I got a question. Do you think you're ever gonna say Kang's name right?
Kang? No, I don't think so.
All
Kong?
right,
Kang? Kang?
Kang
Kang
Kang.
Kong? I'm just
King
gonna
Kong.
call him
King
King
Kong.
Kong.
Yeah, go with King Kong. I
I'm
like
gonna
it.
call him King Kong.
That's
Be my
fun.
thing. Is it Kang or Kong?
I can't with you.
By the way, use that clip at the very beginning of the episode so that people know that I'm already a screw up
That's
before I
that's
start
that's
talking.
already my plan. I'm 2 steps ahead of you.
Anyway, so let's do Loki real quick because it's
Okay.
technically going to be first.
Yeah, we're give me a score.
5 out of 5.
I
This
knew
is the
it.
one I'm most anticipated for. Like, I would literally like, if you told me I could watch this now and I couldn't watch the rest of these for a year, like until they were all out, I'd say okay. Like, let me watch Loki season 2 right now, and I'll wait a whole 2 years until all of this phase is done to watch the rest of it. That's how
Tom,
excited I am for
Tom
season 2.
Hiddleston is so good as Loki that yeah, I'd have to agree with this. I'm gonna. I don't want to beat out Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania just because, like I said, I am very excited for that. So I'm gonna tie it with it. This is a 4.5 out of 5 for me.
Nice.
Super excited.
Nice, very excited. Him and Owen Wilson just had such a great rapport on screen, and I imagine he's going to be back. And so, or wait, we know he's going to be back because we've had some sneaks already about that. I think so. I'm very excited. Anyway,
for some reason, a very specific date of July 29th, 2023, The Marvels.
Well, no, I mean the movies have specific dates already, so that makes sense.
Oh, that's a really great point. I'm stupid. Yeah, they have to do that. Whereas Disney can decide whenever the heck they want their show to come out.
Yeah, they can be a little bit more broad.
That's a very good point, Nick. Thank you for that glimpse into the inside of the industry.
Yeah, you're the movie maker. You should know these things.
Yeah, but I'm also not smart. So there's that too.
Not gonna argue with you. Mrs. Marvels. The Marvels
with Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel, yeah,
Miss Marvel. Captain Marvel, and then Photon, who might have a Marvel name. We'll see. Oh, don't give me that look. I'm serious. So for the record, Monica Rambeau has a number of different aliases that she has in the comics. So she goes by Photon. Captain Marvel is one of her aliases. Crap, there's like 2 more that I'm forgetting. But anyway, I think the one that I've heard popularly is she's gonna be Photon.
Okay.
We'll see. I think Pulsar is actually another one.
I think it makes sense that she'd be in it too, right? Like,
well, we know she's got beef with Carol, right?
Yeah. Or like, well, I don't know. Is it beef?
There's something there. Like, if you remember, when Captain Marvel comes up during WandaVision, she says something about Carol, and it seems like it's kind of passive aggressive. Like, she doesn't seem to be a big fan of Carol, and I think the speculation is since her mom died of cancer, it's cancer that she received due to like radiation exposure while like going on adventures with Carol.
Interesting.
That's the speculation. Because yeah, it's a really like it's not the way that the little kid Monica would have addressed Carol. Because like she loved Carol, right? Aunt Carol. Yeah. She loved her.
Right. Yeah, that's so interesting. Like that's gonna be such a cool like storyline for them to unpack is when they like meet each other in this phase, most likely.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think so
having said that, and after watching Miss Marvel, which I thought was a solid show, definitely enjoyed the last half of it better than the beginning. And then the very end there with the switching locations with Carol Danvers was just like unexpected thing. It was
very
like,
unexpected.
What is going on? So with all of that in mind, like I think probably like a 3.8, maybe a 4 on out of 5 scale on excitement for this movie. I love that it's a movie. I'm so glad it's a movie. That's my score.
I am too. I'm very glad that this movie. I think this is a 4. This is a 4 out of 5 for me. I'm very excited for this. I want Brie Larson to have some time in the light. Yeah. Our Kamala Khan is wonderful, and I can't wait to see more of Monica Rambeau. Heck yeah. Okay. November 9th, 2023. God, 2023 is just going to be freaking wild.
I think it's a, is
Blade.
that a 9 or a 3? It doesn't matter.
Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe that is a 3. I think you're right. I think it is a 3. November 3rd, 2023.
uh,
Blade.
I am like I am so excited about this, and I like admittedly have not even I don't think I've even seen the original Blade movies. Like I'm like I just never did.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where it's just like I just never will. But I'm so excited
We're
for
going
this.
to definitely review the original Blade movies now.
Oh, please don't make me do that.
the
But
first the
like
first two are worth it.
the
Go ahead,
excitement
sorry.
for this for me is because of the actor playing Blade.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And also from the 2 seconds that we hear his voice at the end of Eternals when uh I was gonna say Jon Snow.
Oh
When
yeah,
Jon
Kit
Snow's picking up
Harrington.
yes, when Kit Harington is picking up the sword and you hear him. And like that enough is got it has me like this is like I might be more excited about this might be number 3 on my list for excitement.
I everything you just said is exactly how I feel, except that numeric score. Nick, for some reason, this is what I'm most excited about. And I think it's what you
Really?
said. Yeah, I think it's because of Ali.
Yeah.
As Blade, like he just seems like he's gonna like just knock this out of the park. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing I've seen him in that he's given like a mediocre performance
No,
on.
he's just so good.
Yeah,
Like he's just it's like this is like it already feels like the perfect role for him, and it's we haven't even seen him play the role yet.
I am waiting for to give a 5 out of 5 somewhere. This is gonna be a 4.7 for me. This is high. I'm super excited for this movie. I don't know anything about it. It doesn't matter.
Damn,
Doesn't even
4.7.
matter.
All right, I was gonna give 4.2, I think, and I think it's I don't remember what I gave Guardians now, but it might be higher than Guardians. Funny enough, even though I'm more excited about Guardians, I think, but maybe I'm not.
Nick doesn't even know how to handle his emotions right now.
All right, let's pump it out. Let's go
Let's
now.
pump it out.
Let's
Okay.
move on.
Iron Heart. Are you familiar with this character? Iron Heart.
Yeah, it's one of the members of Wakanda. No.
So yes and no on this. So you're correct. In the MCU, she will be. Or at least she has some kind of affiliation with Wakanda, because we do see the actress who will be playing Riri Williams, is her
Mhm.
name. We do see the actress who will play her in the Wakanda Forever trailer. Um, but Riri is originally from America. So it's a little odd that she's in that movie. The theory that I've seen on that is that she is still American. But if you recall, at the end of the Black Panther movie, T'Challa decides that what he wants to do is create an outreach
Right.
for African Americans, or I guess Africans throughout the world. But one of them is in California. So the idea here is that she is one of those kids that makes use of this outreach,
Mm.
which would actually be a pretty beautiful tribute uh to oh my god, help me out, please. Names again. Chadwick Boseman. I did it all by myself.
Okay. I wasn't
um
sure whose name you were looking for there. I was like,
it would be a pretty cool tribute to Chadwick Boseman, since his character is responsible for that outreach program, right? T'Challa is responsible for the outreach program, and Riri would be a hero coming into the next generation.
right,
So it'd be an impact that that actor got to make on this part of the story.
for sure.
That would be pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like the idea of Riri Williams. I've read a couple of her stories when they first came out. I'm not as jazzed about this. It has nothing to do with the character or the stories. I would like to see Wakanda Forever first to
Yeah,
get to know the character a little bit better.
yeah, that's a good call. Like, we just have such limited information that, like, for me, it's probably like a 2.5 or a 3 out of 5. Just,
Yeah.
but it could easily be a 4 after seeing Wakanda Forever. Like, we have no idea yet what's going on.
Yeah.
So,
This is about a 3 for me.
okay,
But this is another one where I'm like, I welcome being surprised. If I'm allowed to adjust this after seeing Wakanda Forever, I definitely will.
yeah,
But yeah, right now it's about a 3.
nice.
Yeah.
All right, Agatha, Coven of Chaos,
Coven of Chaos. Yeah.
Disney
Yeah.
Plus winter 2023, 2024.
Yeah, they're not sure.
No, well, it sounds more like they mean like coming out winter December 2023, but it might run into 2024 in January. So could be a January
Oh, I
release,
see what you
or
mean.
it
Yeah.
comes out the last couple of weeks of December, runs through January is probably what they're going to do based on those dates.
Mm-hmm.
So like I have to look back at the TV shows we've gone over so far. This might be the second one on my list of the TV shows that we have talked about so far, or that we're going to talk about, because I love that character in WandaVision. I think the actress did like a phenomenal job, and I'm very interested to see what's happening, because when we left the character the last time, she was put under a spell by Wanda forever. However, we're not sure where Wanda is currently. We don't think she's dead, but we don't know for sure, and it's possible that the spell maybe has been lifted based on the end of Multiverse of Madness, because
Oh,
Coven of Chaos suggests that Agatha is a witch again, not that
right.
she is, being held back by Scarlet Witch's spell. So I'm
Mm.
very interested to see, one, if we see Wanda at all leading up to this show, and if we don't, I would think that maybe it's suggested that the spell broke when Wanda was defeated by Doctor Strange and America. So
That's a good call for the premise of this show. Yeah, I could definitely see that happening.
um,
Where are you as far as excitement?
I think I'm like a 3.5,
Solid, solid.
because like I really like the character and the actress.
Mm-hmm.
But I also, there were times where she could be a little much. So like I just don't want, like, her own show is slightly like, it could go either way for me, and
Mm.
so I want to proceed with caution on the excitement level.
This does make me wonder. So my score here is in a super state. It's either a 2 or a 4. And it's either a 2. Well, I'll say this. So if there's even a chance that Elizabeth Olsen is in this show, then this show automatically becomes a 4. I love Elizabeth Olsen.
Agreed.
She's amazing as
Totally,
Wanda.
totally agreed.
Yeah. If she's not in the show, I have nothing against the actress who plays Agatha. I thought she was wonderful, wonderfully engaging in WandaVision. Really great villain. But this was like one of those decisions where I was like, you know what, Marvel, we don't need a show for everyone.
Yeah.
I don't need it.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Honestly, I said 2 earlier. That's not true. It's about a 1. If Wanda's not in this show, I really do not have much of an interest in this show at all. In
Joe has
fact,
printed his second 1 out of 5 on the board for the record.
and like honestly, like I might go lower because like at least Echo, like I can kind of see why they want to do a show on Echo. Agatha, I don't get it. Like it's just fuck it. She was popular and they're like, whoa, we could get more eyeballs on that. Let's do it. Or maybe I'm wrong and there's direction here that I don't see yet. But yeah, it's somewhere between a no, not between. Sorry, it's either a 1 or a 4. we will see.
We will find out, but
Yes,
I'll let you have that rant, and we can move on to spring of 2024. Daredevil, Born Again. Obviously, the cool part here is the character that played Daredevil in the Netflix series. We already know is reprising his role, because we saw him for a brief moment in Spider-Man Far From Home, which was an awesome scene. I think he catches the brick flying through the window, and Spider-Man asks him, "How did you do that?" He goes, "I'm a really good lawyer." This is like really awesome. However, having said all of those things, I did like that original show, and I thought he did a great job as Daredevil. But Daredevil's one of those characters that like never really gets me going. Like I'm not like, yeah, I have to watch Daredevil, or like, yeah, I'm really excited about this or that. Like, so I'm gonna be interested to see what they do with this show. Plus, I don't love the whole like born again thing. Like they're implying that they're gonna like give us kind of an origin story with him again. and like kind of things like that with the title, like maybe. And I don't love that because we don't really need that, you know. And some of these TV shows, like you said, like they need content because they have their own streaming service now, and this is obviously like most of this stuff people are gonna watch and they're gonna enjoy it, but uh, it almost feels a little bit forced. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. All right.
2.5.
3.5. 3.5 out of 5.
2.5 out of 5.
Nick, do you remember earlier when I was like, I'm saving my 5 for a very specific Marvel property?
It's not this one. If it's this one, then we're not finishing the episode.
5 out of 5.
Oh my
Daredevil.
God.
I'm so excited.
Ugh.
Charlie Cox is back, baby, as Daredevil. Are you kidding me? I'm
Joe
so
is unbearable.
happy.
Joe is the worst.
So happy.
Listen, if you never listen to this show again, I understand.
listen to me. So I get it. Like if you weren't super jazzed by Daredevil in the Netflix series, even if you liked the series, I get it. I think the Netflix series, I think at times it can be like kind of dumb, but overall, I think seasons 1 through 3 are pretty good. But what knocks it out of the park for me are two actors, and that's Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, because he's incredible, and then Charlie Cox as fucking Matt Murdock. He was so good.
Yeah, and I totally, for sure.
And maybe I'm still feeling the hype from No Way Home, but yes, knowing that he's part of the MCU is so awesome. And two other things here.
No Way Home, Not Far From Home. Jesus, they've really screwed those movie titles. Why did they do that? I'm still messing that up.
So I'm actually glad you brought this up, because you were talking before about the Born Again thing, and it could be, like you said, we could be getting some new origins here. That's entirely true. I don't think I'm gonna say that I don't think that's where they're going with this. I think that the Born Again thing is going to be very similar to like a Homecoming situation, where we got Spider-Man, and it's really the name is more of a like a wink and a nod of like, hey, Homecoming, he's like back home in the Marvel studio instead of being in Sony, instead of giving us like another origin, right? I think Born Again is probably very similar.
I like that thought process. That makes it that's a good call out.
The other reason why I think it might be like that is this has been confirmed to be 18 episodes. This will be the longest running Marvel Disney Plus show.
Now can I change my score?
Yeah, go ahead.
1.5.
So let me explain why I'm excited about the 18 episodes, because that's a lot, right?
Ridiculous.
But I'm wondering if one of the reasons why it's so long is not because they're going to give us something very similar to the Netflix product, right? Which was, I think, 13 episodes per season, and they're each an hour long. Very long show, honestly, and at times it could really drag. I think what I've heard that this will be 30-minute episodes, 18 episodes, and what I'm hoping this is, it's not going to be like a serial, like one episode leads into the other and the third and the fourth and the fifth. It's going to be more like a weekly court case show, where like each episode is a different court case. Because like his comics, like I mean, like it's pretty scattered. His comics do have, stories that transcend every comic, and they build on one another. But like there are also like court proceedings that are just like, this is the court case of the freaking week that Matt's got to deal with. Right. And like that to me sounds so fun if we can have that. Something that you did not bring up, I don't know if you recall this, the She-Hulk trailer.
Yep.
Daredevil does make an appearance in that show, which only seems fitting. Lawyer v. lawyer.
Yeah.
That'll be pretty neat.
Yeah, it would be cool if that's the kind of what they're going to do, then maybe like each week it's like 3 episodes or something, instead of the one.
Oh, God,
right?
I could only hope.
Like that would be a cool way to do it. I could see that. So we'll see. Time will tell.
We'll see.
Time will tell. This is the last piece of information we have for Phase 5 coming up here, right?
Phase last one? Freaking 5, yeah.
So the end of Phase 5, it seems like it's going to end in May 3rd, it looks like, 2024. Captain America: New World Order.
This is honestly, I think this is the most mysterious film of the entire Phase 5 project.
This is actually the one I have like the most questions about,
Yeah.
and it's not, and it's probably just because of like it's like this is like the only one of the OG Avengers that is getting their own movie in Phase 5.
Oh
It
my God,
seems
you're right. I didn't even think about that.
is Captain America, but
Well, I guess, yeah,
it's
yeah.
not
Go ahead. Yeah.
it's not the OG Captain America, but it is the
It's the
title
franchise, it's the
character's
property.
franchise name. So
Yeah.
it's very interesting, and obviously, like Falcon and the Winter Soldier was a big hit. I love that show, and we see Sam fully become Captain America in it, and so it looks like he's going to get his own movie, which is awesome. But like, what is it going to be about? Like, it's so many questions. I have so many questions, like more than it's than
Yeah.
all the other ones. I think.
That's where I'm at. This is one of those films where I don't think we're going to have any idea what it's about until like maybe the late part of this phase.
Right.
Um, that will be very interesting. I
We're not going to know what it's about until April 3rd when they release the trailer a month
right.
from now. Like, you know what I mean? Like we have no idea what this is about until
that
April
that
2024.
title though is so interesting. New World Order.
Yeah.
Because like I wonder, do you get any kind of like conspiracy vibes from that? Like
Yeah.
real life conspiracy vibes from that?
Yeah.
That's the first thing I thought too, was like that feels like a riff on the real life conspiracy, the New World Order.
Yeah.
And based on where Falcon and the Winter Soldier left off, like I could actually easily see that being the case with how so it's so interesting like watching Marvel from like a storytelling perspective, because like there's so many different like levels to it,
Mhm.
and it seems like Captain America is like very much like at the street level right now. Like I could absolutely see like that world that they showed us in that TV series. I could see us building up to that kind of conspiracy, and like maybe a new form of Hydra has like taken over as far as like that new world order, right? Yeah, so many questions about this one of where in the world it could possibly go.
And hopefully we see Bucky a bunch because he's one of my favorite characters. Like, and I think this is like the first part of Phase 5 where maybe like that would suggest that we'll probably see him.
Which is wild that we're gonna go possibly that long without seeing them.
I mean, maybe Ironheart, but that'll depend on Wakanda Forever. I could see it would be great if we get if we get Bucky and Wakanda Forever at the end of this year. That would be sweet. Um,
No, that's a good call. Actually,
he
we
has
we
history
could.
there, so it's possible, right?
Yeah.
And then and in the show, in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they were uh, the oh my gosh, what are the soldiers called from Wakanda? That were
Oh my God. The Doja Milaje.
yes,
Yeah.
they showed up obviously because of Nemo, and Bucky obviously has a relationship with them, so it would be really cool. It would be really awesome if we see him this year in Wakanda Forever, and then that would probably transition to maybe we see him in Ironheart, depending on how that character
Mm.
interacts in the movie, and then the most obvious would be in Captain America. But he's such a great character that I would love to see him a few times in Phase 5, hopefully. So we'll see.
I definitely think he'll be in that film. I don't see them separating Buck and Sam.
Yeah,
They're just gold together. They're
they
just so
are. They are.
funny.
And he's like one of the last super soldiers, right? Like aside from um,
Oh my God, aside from what's his name? John Smith? No, John Carter? Was that his name?
mm,
Do you remember who I'm talking about? The guy who was supposed to become Captain America?
oh yeah. No, I think you're right. Is his name John Carter?
It sounds a little wrong.
Whatever.
Is
But
it Chris Carter? Oh no.
he did take the serum. Yeah, he did take the serum. I forgot about that. Oh
Mm-hmm.
God, I hope we don't see him too much though. I kind of hated his character.
Yeah, he was pretty awful.
uh,
We will be seeing him again at some point.
but that brings up an interesting point about Julia Dreyfus's
Oh my
character.
God, I forgot about her.
What's going on with that whole thing? Like we don't even know where that's going to come up because we have Yolanda now has interacted with her and
Damn it.
Carter, the other guy. Like this is a whole nother thing we haven't even talked about. But that's because it doesn't look like it's anywhere on the board. But I imagine.
No, you know what? I just thought about it. There is one place she could actually, there are two places. There are two places she could show up again. And one of them is Echo. She could absolutely show up in Echo because she kind of has a hand in Hawkeye in the Hawkeye show, right? She's
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
reason why
Yolanda.
uh
Yep.
Yolanda? No. Yes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yolanda. Yeah.
Yolanda. She's the reason why Yolanda shows up in Hawkeye. So that could easily happen in Echo to some degree, right? Because
Right.
she's at the correct level, right?
Right.
She's at the
Right.
street level. It could also be Secret Invasion. And I'm only saying that
Yeah.
because so Secret Invasion will probably involve some like world leaders, and she appears to have connections
Yep.
at that level. Um, so yeah, either one of those I could see her bouncing around in, but you're right. There's really not a lot that she could be in, and she's been set up as like a big character.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
love these like smaller characters that they've built up because like they could come at any moment and and that's when like we'll all be like, oh my god, like it's like you forget about them until they show up and you're just like, how could I forget? Um,
Yeah, especially her character, which like we just did it right now, right?
yeah.
Just totally forgot about her, and ever
Anyway,
since Black Widow, was that the first time we saw her?
um, yeah.
No,
At the end of
we
Black Widow.
we were supposed to see her for the first time there, but that was the second time we technically saw her because we saw her first in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I think. But like because of like release schedules getting
Yeah,
messed
yeah.
up, like it ended up
Right.
being out of order.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Uh so strange.
Did we
Okay.
rate? We didn't rate our level for Captain America though.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so for me, honestly, I think I'm at about I think I'm at about a 4 actually.
Yeah, that's about what I'm at too. Maybe a 3.9, but
I'm going back to what I said about Secret Wars. Like my 4 is mostly out of curiosity. So, as Nick said, with the end of Captain America New World Order, we finish off phase 5. And very mysteriously, we enter phase 6 in I think that says November 6th. Does that look like an 8 or a 6 to you? I can't tell. It's a
it
really
doesn't matter.
bad
It doesn't
image.
matter. Doesn't matter.
It's in
November
November.
2024.
Fantastic Four. I
So
am so hyped for this.
I'm very excited. Uh, the most recent Fantastic Four movie was hot garbage. Uh, Disappointingly so, because I think the first 20 minutes of that film were actually pretty good, and then it just really gets bad.
It's like hilariously bad.
It gets like worse and worse in a historical way.
I finally so just for listener context, I actually refused to watch that film for a long time until Nick told me that I should watch it so I could understand how bad it was.
Yeah.
I had such a fun time watching this terrible, awful, no good film. I think I actually like recorded a few snaps and I sent them to you of like what I thought like the worst lines in the movie were.
Yeah.
Oh my god, especially the
Wait,
conclusion at
wait,
the end.
snaps as in Snapchat?
Oh no, you're right. They weren't snaps. Sorry.
I was gonna
That
say
was
I
the
don't
old
have
man
that.
in me.
I was like, I
They
don't
were
have that.
definitely Instagram stories.
I wonder if I even saw those. Maybe I.
Oh yeah, no, I made a couple. There was one. The one I remember the most was when he comes up with how their name comes to be, the Fantastic Four. Like when Ben is looking out to the distance and he's like, "Wow, it'll be fantastic, just fantastic." And then like the smart guy gets this realization on his face, and like he's about to say it, and the movie just cuts, and we're like, "Jesus, what a terrible way
Yeah,
to end this movie."
yeah, yeah. That's one of the worst endings ever. But what I'm right though, right? Like the first like 20 or 30 minutes of that film were okay.
I was interested.
Right? You're like,
Yeah,
oh, okay, like how does it go bad? And then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, what am I watching?
yeah. As far as the casting goes, I actually didn't think the casting's that bad.
No,
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
whatever. Anyway, but we're getting Feige, Kevin Feige, Fantastic Four movie.
and he is a big fan. He's a big fan of Fantastic Four.
And hopefully Krasinski is reprising his role as Mr. Fantastic because that was such an awesome moment in Multiverse of Madness that we got recently.
That was actually probably my favorite moment of Multiverse of Madness.
So
That being said, I actually hope John Krasinski is not Reed Richards. And to reiterate, I really liked him in Multiverse of Madness. I hope it's someone younger. Um, I I would love if we could get someone to play Reed Richards who has John Krasinski comes off as a Reed Richards who has learned his lessons and is like learned to value his family. Maybe
Right.
John can do it again, right? Maybe he can be the arrogant person who makes all the wrong decisions. Maybe he can. I don't know. He doesn't. He hasn't stricken me like that throughout the body of his work. He's usually like the chill, likable guy, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but I personally I would prefer if we could get someone to represent that really arrogant, careless side of Reed.
Yeah, but
Um,
I just don't want it to be another origin story because we've had two of those already, right?
yeah, there is
So
that. That is dangerous. I do agree with that.
you just like like people don't need the origin stories now. Like
Yeah, we're
people
so
know
beyond that.
people know the story. Like they need to like pick it up from like halfway through their storyline comic wise, like of all time or something like that, right? Like and obviously it probably is going to be something that helps us with what's coming next in phase 6, right? The only three things on here are Fantastic Four in 2024, and then there's a bunch of gaps, and then there's Kang Dynasty 2025 and Secret Wars same year, a few months later in November. So I feel like it's like if we're gonna connect everything and by the way, Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars are the two Avengers movies of Phase 5 and 6. There's no Avenger movie in Phase 5 apparently. We're getting two in Phase 6 within a few month period, which is just insane.
Very mysterious.
Uh, so I don't know. I feel like the timing of the Fantastic Four film, like it's not going to be an origin story. It's going to be more of like the older Fantastic Four with a little bit more experience, and they're going to help solve the problems that are arising over the next two phases here.
Mhm. I wonder if if they're not introduced to us in that film, right? Like I'm wondering, I'm betting that they're introduced to us in an earlier film. Now, what that film could be, I have no idea. The
Yeah,
only the only one that makes sense to me is Quantum Mania. But that's so
soon.
yeah, exactly, right? Like that's happening soon. And this movie's like much later and it feels like a really weird pause to put on introducing like a band of characters, right?
Well, I
Um,
could see them being introduced in Guardians potentially,
there's potential there.
but for some reason, I also want to say Captain America.
You know, I thought about that too, just because it's the film that's closest, right?
The closest, but then the New World Order thing has, like you think that like I don't know, it just strikes me as like the Fantastic Four with the kind of team that they are, and it being more of a government secret maybe.
Mm,
New World Order kind of like they come out of nowhere, you know? I
yeah.
don't
My
because
thing,
if it's not an origin story, it means that they've been existing and no one knew
right.
about it,
See,
right?
that's what I think it is.
So
I think they've been part because like remember how in Ant-Man we come to find out that Hank Pym was Ant-Man a long time ago, but like just no one knew about it.
right,
I think that's going to be the same thing here.
right.
But it's not going to be that nobody like it was a secret. It's not going to be that. It's going to be if I'm right, it's going to be they've been gone. Like because the
Mm,
Fantastic Four, like they're not heroes, they're explorers.
right.
So my guess is they've been like in another dimension or they've been out in space. And like they've
Ah,
just been missing all this time.
right. And so then if that's the case, that would make sense why we see them in Ant-Man because Ant-Man's going to find them and bring them back.
Right. That's what makes sense to me. Like if they're
Or
in the quantum
Guardians.
realm. Or
Guardians
yeah, or if they're in space and they bump into
runs
the
into them
Guardians. Yeah.
and it's like you've missed a lot, like that kind of shit. So that's a great point.
As far as for avoiding origin stories go, that's my hope. I have to believe that's where they're going with it, just because this is such a late time to introduce that movie, you know?
Yeah, yeah, totally agreed. I like that thought process. So now I'm a little bit more excited about Ant-Man now because of that.
Yeah, who knows, right?
But if they're not an Ant-Man, I'm gonna be mad. I'm coming for you.
Feige!
What's your rating here? I'm probably in like the 4.2 range. I'm pretty stoked about this one.
We're going with a 4 for obvious reasons.
Nice. Okay. God damn it. All right. Well, as mentioned before, there's tons that have to be released still, information we don't know about phase six. But what we do know is we can probably tackle these together. Is the only two Avengers titles we've gotten so far. And these are, for all intents and purposes, basically going to round out phase six.
Yeah.
Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, May 2nd, 2025. And then there's maybe two more titles in between, probably TV shows. And then November 7th, 2025, Secret Wars. So we're going to get two Avengers films. Insane. Obviously, Kang Dynasty was what I said at the beginning of the show, is probably one of the ones I'm the most excited about. So I'm going to have to say 5 out of 5 here. So I'm very excited about Loki. I'm very excited about this one.
Going through all of this together with you, I actually think my excitement level for Kang Dynasty has changed, and I think I'm a 5 out of 5 for this as well.
All right.
Yeah, like you sold me on this, especially like thinking about like how much of Jonathan Majors we'll get to see in this movie. Yeah, I'm all on board. Let's go.
It's gonna be great. Like, it's gonna be freaking absolute pandemonium.
Okay, so I got a question for you, Nick. Based on what we know so far, who do you think the Avengers even are at this point?
Well, I would love to say Spider-Man, but he might just be gone because no one knows who he is. Like, I'm so pissed. Like, Sony's so damn like mad about their negotiations. They want more money from Marvel. You know what I mean? They won't sell it completely because, Spider-Man's too the IP is too precious.
Damn you, Sony! Give me my nerd stories.
So we might just have like no Spider-Man for a while because they completely made everyone forget who he is. So there's no reason to ask him for help. So, dude, I don't know. Who are the Avengers? That's a great point. I mean, Captain America, but Captain Falcon, more like it. I guess that's what you say. Which I guess we should have talked about why Captain America is not called Captain Falcon. But no, but he's Captain America now.
I believe that's also because of IP reasons.
Yeah, no, but he's part of the show though. Like, they made him Captain America in the show, so never mind. That's kind of a stupid statement. But anyway, I guess it's Captain America, right? Thor, I imagine, is still an Avenger.
I gotta believe that, yeah.
Who's left?
Technically, Ant-Man is an Avenger, right?
Ant-Man is an Avenger.
Technically.
Hawkeye, but he's old, so does Kate Bishop take over as an Avenger? Maybe?
Yeah, does she get the knighting?
Does she get knighted?
The knighting.
I would love to see, Doctor Strange, Avenger, Wanda, Scarlet Witch, if she's not dead / if she's finally nice again.
Right.
Is an Avenger, maybe. We'll say Spider-Man, but I'm not hopeful that we're going to see him. Who else? The new Black Panther, which we haven't talked about that yet.
Is it Shuri? Who knows?
Is it Shuri? Like, which seems like it, which I'm cool. Love that if that's the case, but maybe an Avenger. Secret Invasion might be more important than we think because Nick Fury is the one who brought together the original Avengers, and like, someone needs to bring together the new Avengers. So like, who is in charge of that? It's a great question.
My dude has already forgotten about the Hulk. Poor Bruce.
I have forgotten about the Hulk.
Poor Bruce.
Bruce Banner, Shang-Chi, the Eternals. There's too much crap going on, man. How do we keep
so much? I didn't think about Shang-Chi. That's actually a good guess. I could see that. I could definitely see that. I meant to bring this up. So I don't know if you saw this. This is something that's really weird about these two films, Avengers, the Kang Dynasty and the Secret Wars. They have two different directors. Yeah, a little strange given how Endgame and Infinity War worked out with the Russos. But the Secret Wars director, very interesting choice. It's the director of Shang-Chi.
Huh.
Yeah, which, like, I loved that film. From a spectacle standpoint, just so cool, especially with the choreography. So like, I'm all on board with that, which makes me think that this is going to be like a free for all fighting movie. So I suppose, we have no idea what it's going to look like. If I'm taking a guess, swing here, I'm hoping Spider-Man's still in it. We got Captain America, Shang-Chi, like you said. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if Bruce is still in it. We'll see. Maybe She-Hulk.
I mean, so the She-Hulk thing, and I guess we could kind of start bridging because we really don't know what Secret Wars is about. And it's an Avengers film, so it's probably four out of five for me, 4.5 out of five, maybe even.
Yeah.
But I feel like we also got to start bridging to like talking about like Phase Four, like where we're gonna get into everything, and like
Yeah.
the She-Hulk thing. I'm actually really excited for it, and we're gonna get some answers on how she's able to change from regular person into She-Hulk,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because there's like a clear, like she has control or is gonna have control over being her normal human form and then being able to transform and back and forth, which would give us potentially an answer for why we see Bruce Banner in the extra credit scene in a sling of
Oh,
Shang-Chi,
yeah.
which has been one of my biggest questions from the first part of this phase is like, how the heck is he not merged Hulk? Like, why
You
is he
hear
not?
that, Mark Ruffalo? He didn't forget about you. He's been thinking.
Yeah, so like that's what I like, and I'm thinking we're probably gonna get an answer for that in She-Hulk, I imagine.
Actually, that's probably a good guess because I mean, yeah, she seems to have a lot more control over it than Bruce did early on.
Right.
So yeah, we might get into a little bit of an origin there as to what happened with Bruce between Infinity War and Endgame, or Endgame and Shang-Chi.
Yeah,
Um,
because like in She-Hulk, she clearly is able to like be normal and talkative. It seems like in the previews, right? So like
yeah.
that would mean then that Bruce Banner, he doesn't need to be, he doesn't have to have, uh, he doesn't have to be Smart Hulk, right, or whatever. He can just be Hulk, and then he can be normal Banner
Mm.
if, which I'm assuming that's what has to happen because he was Bruce Banner at the end of Shang-Chi, and that shouldn't have been possible based on Endgame. So, we'll see what the answers there are. But um, yeah, what do
So
you?
yeah, we got She-Hulk to look forward to.
Yeah.
You had mentioned the holiday special for Guardians earlier. But closing out Phase 4, I think we have probably like what will end up being the most emotionally gripping story for the Marvel Phase 4.
Yeah.
Maybe all of Marvel.
Yeah.
And that's Wakanda Forever.
Yeah. I'm extremely excited about it. Like we're gonna get a new person playing Black Panther, which is probably Shuri. Sorry,
And that
Shuri.
that seems to be the obvious choice. Shuri has definitely been the Black Panther in the comics before.
Okay.
So yeah, that seems like where they'll probably go. I personally would love it if M'Baku was the Black Panther. That they probably will not do that. I also would love Shuri. She's a really fun character. Um, Man, that trailer though, the trailer for Wakanda Forever is wild.
Mm-hmm.
I have to look her up. The actress who plays the Queen of Wakanda,
Mm-hmm.
T'Challa's mother. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
The line where she's delivering, "I am the ruler of the most powerful nation in the world, and I have lost my family."
Mm-hmm.
That line, like the way she hits it, just so painful. Um, I think we've all been really interested to find out how they're going to handle the loss of Chadwick Boseman for a while now, and that's probably one reason why this is so anticipated.
Yeah.
It's man, that really was just like such a harrowing, disappointing loss.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
really did bring that character to life.
Yeah. It's so sad and like crazy because it was so kept quiet too. Like.
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you brought that up. God, again, bad with names. The director of Black Panther, he had written the second film, and he had no idea
Mm-hmm.
that Chadwick had what he had,
Yeah.
or that he was as far along as he was, and wrote the story with Chadwick like in mind. So when Chadwick died, he had to do significant rewrites of what this story was intended to be.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's
Insane.
something else that's so interesting to see
Crazy. Yeah.
exactly how this like how like one person really like affected like the franchise so much.
Yeah. Um, yeah. obviously very excited about Black Panther, and we're gonna get. Well, it's just like you said, basically the conclusion of Phase Four, and there's been a lot of people online who are upset about the lack of direction, as you mentioned, on Phase Four. But like we said, there's a lot of new characters. You got to give everyone their own shows and movies to develop, whether it's their next step or the new character completely. And the first phase or two of the MCU was very, very like jumbled, and we didn't get much of a collection of what's going to happen next until extra credit scenes and things like that in the original phases. So to me it's been great. Like I didn't go into phase four thinking we needed to have this like conglomerate of storytelling. I was more like we're gonna get some ideas about what the big future is, but we're gonna get a lot more character building and development and intros, and we've gotten exactly that. We know that the big deal of phase 5 and 6 is the multiverse, which we got that information with some really cool stuff. And we got a lot of new characters. I mean, we got so many new characters. We forgot about some of them already because there's so many. I mean, Jesus, Eternal has like 10. Eternals is 10 new characters in it, like in one movie. Like, what?
And you know what we haven't even discussed yet.
The fact that no one has acknowledged Celestial, a
Right,
stone
the Celestial coming out of the earth. Right, no
coming
one's
out of
even
the
talked
earth.
about it.
Like, no
No
one's
one
mentioning
cares.
that. It's
No
like
one gives a crap.
that's like it's just part of the world.
Everyone's just got a New York mentality now. They're like, I'm living here.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I have to imagine that part of the problem for that is the order of release has been so messed up.
Yeah.
Um, do you remember I had that theory a long time ago about Doctor Strange having originally supposed to come out before Spider-Man No Way Home?
Yeah. It makes sense.
I got a confirmation on it. That was confirmed that the release got screwed up because of something with Sony. I was gonna bring this up. So it is highly rumored that part of Sony's deal to keep the Spider-Man IP is that they will produce a Spider-Man movie every 2 years,
Huh.
which is why I think we will get a 2024 release of Spider-Man. Like one of those like mystery titles is probably a Spider-Man film.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I heard that was why the movie was pushed to where it was, and they ended up pushing Doctor Strange to a later date as a result, doing some reshoots to make it make sense. Um, but what I was going to say, as far as characters that we have not even mentioned yet, not introduced, although the word to describe them was introduced in Miss Marvel. We haven't talked about the X-Men.
Oh my
And
god.
right, so that
So not even
feels.
that, but did you notice at the end of Mrs. Marvel, and that like one of those final scenes, they were playing the theme song from the TV show, the X Men?
Oh no way! No, I totally missed that.
Yeah, you got to go back. I missed it during the watch, but I read about it, and I was like, oh man, this is great. Like I got to tell Joe about this. Yeah,
That's
the theme song of
fantastic.
like the original X Men cartoon apparently is being played during that last scene when she's getting into the Porsche
Oh,
that
that's awesome.
behind. Apparently, yeah, go back and watch that scene, and you'll know
Oh, I will.
if it's true.
Uh, yeah, they're like sneakily like introducing mutants into the MCU.
Yeah,
With
uh,
Kamala being the first.
and then there's been some. Sorry, I'm very excited now. We're talking about X Men. There's been a couple hints on it, like, did you see the Tagger? What's his name? This guy's got a weird name. The kid who played Elton John.
I have no chance of getting that right. I know who you're talking about though.
Yeah, whatever his name is. Starts with a T. It's weird. Uh, there was like an article about him like being like he's had maybe like one preliminary conversation, or he's been the one that expressed that he would love to play Wolverine, although he's not
Interesting.
entirely sure how stepping into a role like that would be because Hugh Jackman is Wolverine, you know what I mean? Like, and he's done such a fantastic
Yeah.
job over in the last 10 to 15 years with that character that it would be hard to step into the role, but he's excited. He would be excited to discuss it. And like, I actually love that from a casting perspective. I think he would crush it. Uh,
Dude's a good actor.
he's a good actor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at the end of the day, like, obviously we've gotten Professor X as we all know it, and so far, like we saw him in um, Multiverse of Madness, but like I feel like you really got to, if you're gonna bring the X-Men in and make it all okay, the one person you have to cast correctly from a recasting perspective is Wolverine,
It's
and
gonna be
you,
tough.
if you don't screw that up, everyone else can be new actors if it needs to be, right? Like
That's such a great point because of all of the characters, he's the only one that has. Well, I guess that's not entirely true. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool, but
yeah,
those two were the only two that were not recast, right? Because
right,
they made it into two different franchises, right?
right, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly, right. Like because even Professor X was played by a younger actor, obviously,
yeah,
right,
and Magneto.
and Magneto, right.
Yeah,
So you really got to cast Wolverine properly. And I mean, the great part though about all this is like MCU wise, like, and with what the Multiverse of Madness set up, they could use some of the same characters if they wanted to, like some of the same actors and actresses if they wanted to, and they could get them. But the
yeah.
problem there becomes like from an age perspective, like are they going to be able to sell the age of them and things like that? It's probably easier just to recast, just depending on what they're. I guess the plan is like, what's the big picture for the X Men in the MCU? But if they're fully coming home, I feel like they're going to want to tell their story from the get go and kind of like not be worried about age and timelines and shit like that. So they're probably going to recast most people. Um,
That's my guess too, and I think that's why we haven't seen them yet. Is they are really building them from the ground up here.
and
Um,
you just got to cast Wolverine right. Like that's the big deal.
it was confirmed that Ryan Reynolds will be Deadpool in a future release.
Yes.
Yeah, so that actually might be one of those mystery titles in 2025.
He started training for Deadpool 3 a couple days
Oh,
ago.
awesome!
Yeah, it was like officially training. Like he posted on Instagram or something. Super stoked. And actually, I haven't watched those movies in a while, and like because there's been a lot of Deadpool talk the last couple of days, like I'm probably gonna put one of those movies on, maybe even when we get off this call, just because I haven't seen them in a while. Um,
They're fun watches.
they're really
Uh, all right, so
anyway.
yeah, we're getting there. So overall, Nick, how are you feeling about Phase 4? And then let's talk how we're feeling about Phase 5, Phase 6
I
before
feel
that.
pretty good about Phase 4. I've enjoyed it every step of the way.
I
I'm
assume
excited.
Loki is your favorite.
Loki, oh man, what's my favorite thing of Phase 4? That's tough. Loki's probably my favorite. Ah, from a TV show perspective, Loki's my favorite, followed by WandaVision. But
Hmm.
uh, the movies were so good. Like Multiverse of Madness and Love and Thunder were awesome, and obviously the Spider-Man film was incredible.
That's probably my favorite is
That was
Spider-Man.
probably my favorite one was Spider-Man as well. Um, but overall, I feel great about Phase 4. I think they did a great job with like the new character introductions and kind of the transition from
Mhm.
what happened in Endgame and things like that. And so I'm just like extremely excited about Phase 5 and 6. Like I think I'm like really excited about basically every movie they're gonna make that they've got scheduled, right? And then like the TV shows are just bonuses, and there's gonna be a couple that I'm like, I'm gonna like them all because we're Marvel stands, but like like it's just I'm really excited. I guess is all I can say.
Nah, I'm right there with you. I think as far as TV shows go, it is probably Loki for me. Although I really did like Moon Knight a lot. Um,
Oh yeah, Jesus, we haven't been talking about
I know.
so
There's
much,
just so much.
so much.
We'd be here for another 2 hours
Ugh.
just discussing Phase 4. Maybe we will do that, but I'm right there with you. I like Phase 4 overall. I didn't need it to be this grand adventure like Phase 3 was.
Right.
I understand why people are impatient because like they're coming off of the hype
Hmm.
from that phase, but like they just finished something incredible, and I think some people like fail to realize that
Right.
was like 10
100%.
years worth of storytelling. That's why
Yeah.
it was incredible.
Yeah.
So we're back to basics. And honestly, the fact that phase 6 is that soon, that's pretty amazing. But I'm not worried about it. I think I kind of trust Feige at this point. Um, he's kind of earned it. Like even like some of Marvel's like worst films, like I'm looking at you, Thor: Dark World. Even some of the like their worst stuff, like led us to like some golden moments, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I like Phase 4 overall. Phase 5, Phase 6, the hype is real. Let's go.
Let's
Kang
go.
Dynasty, let's go. It's a 5.
King Kong
Yeah.
Dynasty, let's go.
Kang Kong Dynasty, baby. All right. I guess on that note, we'll close out of here. Unless you got any final notes here for us, Nick.
Nope, I've got no final notes. Let's do this again soon.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess the next time we'll be talking, possibly Miss Marvel, something that we're looking at. Yeah. But watch out. As for the phases, though, phase 5, phase 6, that's in the books. We're super excited. I'll be paying attention for more news on that coming out soon. So keep up with us, and may the review be with you.
Peace.